Welcome to the enterprise scale goal-fire deployment presentation driving sustainable innovation. Like Jim mentioned, I am Anup Samuel. I go by Sam. I work out of the Baltimore facility of Northrop Grumman. Bob Hoshier will not be here because of a medical emergency. And I have to remind you that, mention to you that he was instrumental in bringing goal-fire to eastern campuses of Northrop Grumman. And we are ready to get him back on the saddle after the medical leave. I would like also to acknowledge Laura O'Callaghan, who is our manager of knowledge management. She has been vital in supporting our awareness campaigns for Knowzone, which I'll be talking in a few minutes. We partnered with the Invention Machine for our awareness campaign. So Jim Belfiore from Invention Machine and Allison Lewis will be talking about their experiences, about working with us, what they have done, how they have helped us in our marketing campaign. Within the last 2 days, you might have heard at least 2 or 3 presentations about goal-fire deployment. How is this going to be different? The thing that you can get out of this presentation is going to be, you might have heard that one of the key challenges that many of the deployment team had was with mainstream search engines like Google and Bing. How are you going to suggest the value proposition for goal-fire? So today, I'm going to talk about how we have used mainstream search engines to drive the deployment of goal-fire. Okay? So stay tuned, and we'll see what happens. So to kind of go through the scope of the deployment, first I need to talk about and give an overview of Northrop Grumman. Yesterday, we heard from Dr. Charlie Wook about their challenges and opportunities in deploying goal-fire at our western campuses. So I need to first give you the scope of our deployment. Our challenges, it's important to define the challenges so that we can face it. Then I'm going to talk about how we are meeting it, the lessons learned from the whole process, and what we have planned for the next year. So with that, Northrop Grumman is a Fortune 100 defense company. In 2010, their ranking is number 61. And as you can see on the slide, we have 5 sectors, starting with aerospace systems, electronic systems, information systems, shipbuilding, and technical services. We have close to about $34 billion in sales, with about $70 billion in total backlog for the contracts that we have. We are 120,000 people strong, operational in 50 states and 25 countries. The future of battle management is such that it's going to be rare that a single U.S. service is going to go into the battle. It's going to be a multitude of U.S. services. So the coordination of systems, process, people, and technology comes into mind. So the cybersecurity is not only important for the mainstream, it's important for the battle management too. It's even more important for the battle management too. So we have leading capabilities in cybersecurity. Systems integration comes to mind when we talk about coordination. C for ISR stands for Command, Control, Communications, Computers, Intelligence, Reconnaissance, and Surveillance. Surveillance and reconnaissance. And other areas include definitely IT, Homeland Security, Defense Electronics, Shipbuilding, and Space and Missile Defense. So the focus at the large level is, our focus was the electronic systems. Okay? So bringing it down from 120,000 people to now close to 22,000 people, right? We are headquartered in Baltimore. I work at the headquarters campus. We have about $8 billion in sales in 2009. Our motto is from the underseas to the outer space. To put it simply, we make electronic boxes that go into different systems from submarines to the satellites. And we are operational. The electronic systems is operational in 20 major locations across the US. So we have shifted down to level number 2. Going down one more level, we have the engineering, manufacturing, and logistics organization, EM&L, within electronic systems. So now I'm at level 3 with 12,000 employees. The focus of EM&L organization is to provide resources for development and production programs. So 2 key things come into question. We have to use the best practices. We have CMMI level 5 certification. We also have to make sure that we share knowledge across different disciplines. You can see different disciplines up on the screen. Their mindset, their agenda could be different. So knowledge sharing is the key to overcoming the challenges and use or accelerate our strength for shared resources and processes. Now, to deploy to 12,000 people, you need an organization to do that. And that organization is Engineering, Environment, and Development Support. I work for the EATS support group, EATS group. So we can see our goals, our mindset in that pyramid structure that you're going to see, that you're seeing on the screen. At the bottom layer, at the bottommost level, we have the standard platforms and network. That's managed by IT. Let the IT guys take care of which kind of computers to buy, what types of software to install at the basic level. We don't meddle with that. But at the next level, where engineering design and all other innovation activities come into question, we come in with the standard tools, we as in EATS. Our motto is clearly fewer is better because it translates to savings for licensing, training, and a whole other bunch of maintenance activities. But having standard tools is not enough. The standard tools should enable the processes within the company to be successful. Not only that, the processes has to be such that it has to have the best practices. The processes should be benchmarked. So we need to have tool-to-process enablers. Now, the tool-to-process enablers should allow collaboration and knowledge sharing, not silos. So once we have the best practices, we also need to measure ourselves. That's where metrics comes in, to continue to make sure that we are the best in the industry in terms of using our resources. So what's our challenge? First of all, we need to raise awareness for Goldfire capabilities and show the business value. Reaching across 12,000 people is going to be a challenging task because we are operational in what? Like 20 major sites. We can think about many channels, but how are you going to make sure that a guy working in a program who is not interested in anything else going around the world can know about Goldfire? Secondly, Google culture. Do we need to have Google tantrums? We heard from the gentleman earlier in the day about the Google tantrum, right? Google can do this. Why should I use Goldfire? What will be our value proposition to make sure that Goldfire is considered supporting a complementary product? Well, if we tout about Goldfire, we also need to make sure that we have a good infrastructure that is reliable and scalable across all these employees. We need to make sure that the product has to perform. Performance in terms of speed, performance in terms of ease of use, all these things come into question. Well, we can only dumb down a product to such an extent. At some level, you need to have the training. So we need to have tailored training. And finally, when all is said and done, the user base has to increase. So we needed to make Goldfire an essential part of our innovation culture. So how are we meeting this challenge? Demand creation and basic education. Demand creation in terms of showing people the preciseness of the search results so they want to use the product. Showing people that they have vetted and quality contents that they could find on Google so they want to use the product. At the basic education level, like I mentioned before, we want to make sure that we can, when you talk about education, there are many channels. It could be CBTs, it could be one-on-one sessions, it could be lunch and learns. We are going to get into that in a few minutes. Infrastructure review and improvement recommendations. We have to make sure that we have the right number of licenses, we have the right support group, we have the right training group. And finally, we need to provide the advanced training sessions, especially for the Goldfire Innovator piece of the software suite. So we partnered with the Invention Machine for this 3-track approach. So as part of the demand creation, the first thing that we did was we deployed the Knowzone website. For the end user, what they want is to find information. I mean, semantic technology is great, but at the end of the day, what they want is what? They want to find the information. They want to be in the know-how as to what is out there, not only within the company, but external to the company. How can we use that? I'm going to talk about that in a few minutes. But in the case of awareness campaign, we tried the top-down and the bottom-up approach. We briefed our vice presidents. We worked with the knowledge management leadership team. We have internal conferences within the company. And we have presented at internal conferences to make aware of Goldfire technology. We worked with our research teams and at the CTO level also. Not only that, we also worked at the bottom level, grassroots campaign kind of thing. We have electronic displays. We have these LCD monitors in public areas within the company, like in cafeteria, the main entrance, and that kind of thing. So we have used those displays to show what Goldfire can do for them. It could be maybe 10 seconds, 5 seconds. It depends on the message that you want to convey. Circuit magazine. There are still going to be people who love to pick up a magazine and read an article. We have a magazine within the company that's named Circuit. So we have magazine articles and advertisements within those magazines to make sure that Goldfire is there in the forefront. Intranet Central. It is rare these days that a company wouldn't have an intranet page, right? So we are advertising to the Internet Central page. Technical Journal. This is going to be the place where high-level technical people would show what they are doing, will write about what they are doing. We have used technical journals for this purpose. Wiki. I'm not sure how many people are there in the audience that doesn't have a wiki page, right? It's so famous. I'm going to again show how we have used wiki to drive Goldfire rather than working against it. Lunch and learn. You have heard that theme from the couple of presentations already. Email distributions, and finally, videos. Videos about when you would use Goldfire and what are the kinds of situations in which you would use Goldfire. So we had a comprehensive campaign. So imagine that you are trying to find a piece of information. So what would you do? You would open up an Internet Explorer. If Google is your friend, you would go to Google, try to find that information. Well, you couldn't quite find that information. Maybe that information was in your shared drive. So what would you do? You would open up another window, Windows Explorer. Maybe you like Bing. Maybe you like our wiki. Maybe you like a search engine that you have within the company that is not Goldfire. Maybe you like Wolframalpha for some of the people who use it. So you have this multiple windows floating around in your computer, right? And you are supposed to type this query multiple times, right? With the Knowzone